And, well, you know, yeah, north and south.
Happy to.
Today is a little safety message. Please remain seated on the cars and hold it. Please keep all hands, heads, feet, and kids inside. If kids fall off, don't stop and pick them up.
He's a hard man.
Pretty much all have a good, enjoyable, safe ride. Thank you, folks. They're live. Fuck it.
Speech, and they tell me that what I'm really supposed to tell you is thank you very much for writing. It's a volunteer organization, and you're keeping this going. And these gentlemen who work here, I haven't done it yet, have restored these cars and just keep them in wonderful shape. But there's some history about these cars. It's amazing. The car barn started, and the horse-drawn trolleys started in 1891. Lake Harriet was sort of an excursion line, and so they would run boats on their lake. The trolleys would come to the boat. You could come out for a day at Lake Harriet and have a wonderful time, and then you could take the trolley back downtown. And I think at the height of the trolley lines, there was over 500 miles of track within St. Paul and Minneapolis. So you could get all the way from St. Paul to Minnetonka. Let me think here. What happened was, in 1920, GM and Ford started producing cars. And that was sort of the beginning of the end for the trolleys. It ended in 1954. Many of these cars got taken away. I don't know where this one has come back from, but they have all been brought back and refurbished here. So I think we have 3 or 4 cars here. 3. And how many at Excelsior? 2. So we have 5 cars total. Anyway, 1300 was built at the time that Teddy Roosevelt was the president. There were only 46 stars in our flag. Do you know what the other 4 were? New Mexico, Arizona, Alaska, and Hawaii. Isn't that amazing? And the Wright brothers had just made their first flight, and women couldn't vote. We could drive trolleys, but we couldn't vote. Boy Scouts were organized, and the song "Take Me Out to the Ball Game" was just written. So that's the history that's around these cars. These cars are just wonderful events all on their own. So I'm very glad you're here. Thank you very much for joining us. Keep on supporting us. Come back. We run all summer. Thank you. How fast did the trolley go? 90 miles an hour. We were just doing it, weren't we? I know.
How fast they went depended a lot on where they were. You have to remember that the streetcars drove in the street, right down the middle. Now, they didn't have a lot of other traffic to worry about that was motorized in the early stages. They had to worry about pedestrians and horse-drawn vehicles and the like. But they were restricted in their speed to whatever was in front of them. People learned, however, to get out of the way. These cars, you have to realize, if you go back to the early years of the 20th century, when these cars were built, these were by far the biggest, heaviest, fastest, meanest things on the street. There was nothing even close. So they got some respect. People got out of the way for really good reason. When they were on what was called private right-of-way, which was land that the streetcar company owned, and part of our route along here was private right-of-way at the time, owned by the streetcar company. They could go a lot faster because there was no other traffic. So this car, probably when it was in operation toward Lake Minnetonka and whatever, would probably get up to 50 miles an hour or something like that. Probably didn't go that fast in the right-of-way, but I can pretty much guarantee it went 30 or 40. So they could move right along. But again, what's in front of them was going to determine how fast they could go. What was behind them, once the cars started taking over the streets, what was behind them had some real restrictions. It was illegal to pass a streetcar when the doors were open. It was kind of questionable if you were both going down the street together, but once the doors were open, it was a mandatory stop for the cars, and if they didn't make the stop, they could and were ticketed. So, and the obvious reason is that pedestrians had to get out, climb down the steps, and walk across in front of the stopped cars to get to the sidewalk, because the tracks were right down the middle of the street. All right, let's do this thing.
Can we go back?
We can't have to see where the other car is.